If you're following along in the payroll workbook, this is in the first of the two workbooks, and it's pages 36 through 40. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be a pretty quick topic, so we may not even be here the whole 20 minutes, but let's go on and get started. First, we're going to talk about reprinting check stubs. And to do that, all we have to do is click on Reports, and then the bottom choice in the menu right here is to reprint check stubs. When we click that, we have a couple of different options. And that starts up here in the employee criteria area. We can select to reprint the check stubs for all of the employees or just specific ones. If you wanted to print all, you could just click Next. Otherwise, you can make any specific selections here. And if you change the criteria to specific, then we could just choose one or two of the people to print for by putting a check mark next to their names. And then when you click Next, you choose the paid date to and from. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it on that date and click Continue. And then it's going to show me my 2 payments for each of those folks. And then this check mark in the top right-hand corner for the preview. We definitely want to keep that checked because that'll allow us to see a print preview before we actually send it to the printer. So when we click Next, it's going to bring up our print preview here. I'll make that big so we can see it more clearly. And then you can click the print button up here outlined in red in the top left-hand corner to actually send it to your printer. Very quick and easy. So that is reprinting our pay stubs. So I'll go ahead and click Finish on that, and that'll close out of it. And next we'll talk about renumbering checks. To renumber checks, keep in mind that this is going to reverse and re-enter the transactions both here in payroll and also in accounting. So we definitely recommend coming into the sysadmin here and making a backup before you make these changes, just in case any funny business happens and you need to go back. You would also want to make a backup from Church Windows. Keep in mind they are 2 separate programs that back up separately. So before you do any check renumbering, it's always a good idea to make a backup of both Payroll and Church Windows before you begin that. I'm not going to do that right now because we don't need to do a tutorial on that. There are tons available already. So we will go to the Payroll button here. And right in the middle of the list, we have renumber checks. So I'm going to click that. And I can choose a pay date up here in the corner. If I wanted to change to just employees or just contractors, I could do that up here. And I can either select all or deselect all. And if there's only certain ones that I need to renumber, I can select multiple choices by holding down the Control key on my keyboard. For this instance, I'm just going to do select all so we can take a look at a wider range of data. And I'll click Next. Now up here at the top, we have our starting check number. So if, for example, we're actually using the 10,000s instead of the 13,000s in our check numbering, I could change this to 10,022 for the first new check number. And then when I hit Tab, it fills out all of the new check numbers, replacing what was there before in the check number column. So check number is our original number, and then new check number is where we put our changes. I could also go through and manually change them to whatever I wanted, one at a time, by just clicking on each of them. So if you've hand entered your checks and you find out you made a typo, you can change it that way. You know, for example, maybe we accidentally put our checks into the printer in reverse order. If we needed to reverse them, we could just go down the list using our down arrow key and renumbering them into the reverse order if we needed to. So there's a couple examples of how you would go about changing those. When you click Next, it's going to make sure that we really want to do this. So we've got some bold text down here that we want to read through and make sure that we actually want to do this. We can double check our new check numbers in this column, make sure that that's what we actually want. And it defaults to saying, no, I do not want to renumber them. So if I were to hit continue now, it wouldn't make those changes that I've entered. So what we have to do, if this is definitely what we want to do, is put the dot in the radio button next to yes. And then we press continue. And it says it was successfully completed. And it has made the change in accounting as well. So that is essentially all we have for today. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and type those in. But we have a pretty simple topic here. Very straightforward. We just have to go through each of the screens and fill out all of the appropriate information. I will go ahead and stick around and keep the room open for a few more minutes, and we'll see if there are any questions at all. If you have a question, make sure you type that into the questions panel on your webinar toolbar. And thank you all for attending today.